Hey guys, we're back. Your new favorite couple, Nicole and
Micah.
thanks for coming to hang out with us again. We decided that we were going to do my video on my diagnosis journey, but we decided to put it in two separate videos so it's not one long video. So, to start off with, I have been diagnosed with lupus. And I also have mental health issues too as well. I do struggle with depression and anxiety also, as my husband does. Hence why we are the Spoonie household. Like, we are a true life Spoonie household. And if you don't know what Spoonie is, spoons are a way that people with chronic illness and mental health describe how much they can get done. So on days where they're good and they're happy and they don't have any issues, they can get everything done. And they got plenty of spoons left over. On days where they're struggling, they're in pain, their mind is weary, whatever the issue is, they don't have as many spoons, so they can't do as much as they normally would on every other day. So I was diagnosed with my mental illnesses when I was 20. So I've had my diagnosis for that for 10 years now. Along with that, I do have two heart conditions. I have neurocardiogenic syncope as well as inappropriate sinus tachycardia. Neurocardiogenic syncope I have also had for 10 years, which basically is my heart and brain don't communicate well all the time. So if I change positions too fast, if I go from a warm place to a cold place too fast, if I exercise suddenly and I don't take a certain amount of time to slow down after exercise, any of those things can trigger me to pass out. As well as if I don't have enough salt in my diet to keep my blood pressure high, it can cause me to pass out. Which I've gotten pretty good at managing. Sometimes not so good. It just depends. Inappropriate sinus tachycardia is basically when your heart rate goes really high for no reason at all. And then it goes back to normal on its own whenever it chooses to. There's no life-threatening issues with that. It's just annoying, and it causes me to be very, very tired. After a day of having my heart rate fluctuate, I am super lethargic. I sleep for a really long time, and I just feel really out of it. I feel loopy in the brain. Yeah. So I try to take it easy when I notice my heart rate's doing that, so the next day I'll be okay. I got that diagnosis about 4 months ago. So I was pregnant when I got that diagnosis. And I got my lupus diagnosis last year. I got lupus diagnosis finally after years of pain, like 4 years of pain in my arms, legs, swelling randomly, hives, sweating randomly, severe sweating at night, and all type of long list of symptoms. And I just kept going to doctor after doctor after doctor. Thankfully, I don't drive, so my husband actually does a lot of the driving, and Uber and Lyft does a lot of the driving as well. We went to a lot of doctors because they couldn't figure out what was going on. And the hard part is, to get a lupus diagnosis, you have to have certain markers in your blood work. But the markers in your blood work only show up when you're having what's called a flare. So basically, when I'm not feeling good is when the blood work will show positive. But you guys know, making a doctor's appointment is not the same day. So I call, hey, I'm having these symptoms. When can I come in? Oh, come in 6 days. 6 days I could be feeling fine and the test will come back negative. So it was test after test after test after test trying to get that diagnosis. Which I wasn't looking for a lupus diagnosis. I was looking for a what's going on diagnosis because nobody could figure it out. Yeah, it was crazy. There was days where I couldn't even get work shoes on, or I couldn't get out the bed, or I needed help getting out the shower. Yeah, it was a long road to finally get that diagnosis. And then it was, okay, now you have this, and that's a lifelong illness, and you have this is a lifelong illness. And then when I got pregnant, I ended up getting another diagnosis, which is a lifelong illness. I was like, oh my God, my husband's going to leave me. For real. That's where my mind went when I got those diagnoses, y'all. I was like, oh my God, he's going to leave me. Because mind you, this is all our first year. We just celebrated 1 year. So wow. Everything that we're discussing, his mental health diagnosis, his autism diagnosis, and my lupus diagnosis, and inappropriate sensory tachycardia diagnosis all happened in our first year of marriage. Yeah. I legit was like, oh my God. And with lupus comes with other issues that I have or whatever, which is why we call this my little miracle baby, because along with lupus, they found out that I had a clotting disorder, which is super common in lupus patients. Like more than 50% of lupus patients have this clotting disorder. One of the biggest signs of this specific clotting disorder is miscarriages. And that was found to be why I've had so many miscarriages. I've had 4. So this is our miracle child, because I didn't think I was going to be able to get pregnant after 4 miscarriages and all that your body goes through with those 4 miscarriages. So, yeah. What was your thoughts when I got those diagnoses?
The lupus diagnosis, I was relieved when she got it because we didn't know what was going on. But it's now that she's got it, and she got it while she's pregnant, there's nothing she can take for it. Like, she grin and bear it. Like, any of the diagnoses that she has already, there's nothing she can take for it. Because it's like, oh, you can't take this while pregnant. You can't take this while pregnant. You can't take... Mm-hmm. So it's like, there's nothing you can do but prayer.
Yeah.
God has definitely been on our side through all of this. My thought was to never leave her because of that. Because I'm like, why would I leave her because of something that she can't control? With her and her fainting spells, I've been with her through a couple of them, but there was like one serious one. We was in Walmart, and during COVID too at that.
Right.
So people were scared to come up to you, touch you. But it was interesting that there was a doctor near us.
Yeah, so awkward.
So yeah, that was definitely awkward. But she was okay. She just fell down, and then she went to the hospital the next day.
Yeah.
And she went to the emergency room the next day, and then that's when she found out about her heart condition, and she had to wear a heart monitor, which that was a struggle to find because people was like, hey, we're going to buy heart monitors because people are exercising.
Yeah, so I don't have it on right now.
So that's a watch heart monitor.
Yeah, I have a Samsung Active 2 watch, which comes with a pulse monitor as well as a blood pressure monitor. Mine runs 24/7 when I wear it. It buzzes me if it gets too high, and there's a built-in app on it that will contact his cell phone if I pass out. Because I am pregnant now, so I don't have a good balance as I used to have with my episodes. Hence the Walmart episode. I fell into a rack, I hit my head, and I cut my arm. Yes. And usually my episodes are not that severe.
I have not seen that episode in the 2 years that I was been with her.
Right, because usually I'm like, hey, babe, I gotta sit down. I'm quick to realize what's happening, and I can get myself low enough, or I'll slide down the wall so I'm safe when I pass out. That one, I was not able to, because when you're pregnant, you have a horrible balance. I couldn't do anything, and I was in the middle of an aisle with shelves, so there was like nothing sturdy I could grab onto.
And I was looking at a pillow, trying to get her a body pillow, and I
Yeah,
was
it
not
was
paying attention, and
it was bad.
and well, when she first went to the hospital, she ended up staying in the hospital for what, 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then they sent her home with a heart monitor that connected to her chest. The first one was hyperallergenic. We know how that went. Actually, we don't.
Did not go well.
She has an allergy to nickel and latex and something
now
else.
Adhesive.
Adhesive.
We found out through that wonderful heart monitor.
So she was wearing a heart monitor, the hyperallergenic one. It broke her out, and then they sent her another one that was, I don't know.
Which is supposed to be just a basic latex-free one.
Basic latex-free one, and that broke her out to the point where she was getting chemical burns.
Yeah.
And that's one of the worst kinds of burns.
It was horrible, y'all. And it was like on my chest. I still have like a scar. Try to show it. See? That wonderful ring will forever be there. It was bad. It like burned and it would peel and blister as it was healing. And like I turned my neck, I bent down. Any movement to my upper chest was horrific. Any shirt touch it, it was horrific.
So she ended up having to go back to the hospital within what, a week after that happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, was this was a little bit before COVID. So
no, I think it was right at the beginning of COVID.
So yeah, it was right.
Remember they gave me. We went to urgent care for the chemical burn because I was like, something has to give. And like they came to the car. I couldn't even go inside of the building because I had a fever. But I have lupus. I have frequent fevers. That's a symptom of it. But because it's a symptom of COVID, I couldn't go in the building.
Well, we went to when we went to urgent care, we found out there's a difference between her having a fever and her body being hot. Like I can touch her body and it's being hot.
Because that day we didn't know I had a fever, right? When we were there. Yeah, we didn't know I had a fever because my body wasn't hot. So I didn't know that day that I had a fever. And I didn't check because I was feeling fine. But there's times where my body gets really hot and I sweat, and that's like a lupus thing. So I was thinking I was fine. I'm just like, I just need to get something for this burn. This is horrific. And they were like, you have a fever, blah, blah, blah. Have you been around anybody? And I'm like, what? No, I'm fine. I got this burn. This is why I'm here. So that's how we realized that I was having lupus fevers, but they were not connected to my day sweats or night sweats. Two completely different symptoms that apparently happen at different times from the same disorder.
Well, let's talk about how she got tested for COVID twice.
Oh my God. Yeah.
One time she got tested in her throat, which was probably fine because
didn't hurt. The nose was brutal.
The other test, she got tested in the nose while she was in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused her to have a serious nosebleed.
Right. Sorry, I try to hold those for after the video. But a part of the thing with my lupus is my lungs get like kind of restricted. They said it's kind of like having bronchitis all the time, but you don't have bronchitis.
So she got tested for bronchitis multiple times. Tested for COVID twice.
Yeah, and I don't have any of those.
And those are not it, because anything dealing with coughing or fever or anything, you get tested for COVID. And I was like, no, this is not COVID.
Right, no, it's just a symptom of lupus.
Thank God.
My lupus just makes my lungs kind of squeeze tight and causes me to cough sometimes.
But a lot of things have different, they have the same symptoms, but they're different things. So a lot of, unless you get tested for it, or they ain't gonna believe you. Unless,
exactly.
And she's black, so they definitely ain't gonna believe her.
They never do, y'all. I be struggling in these hospitals. So, yeah. That was like our long journey of me finally getting my diagnosis of lupus. I got the diagnosis of lupus, and then I had to get set up to see a special rheumatologist to get a special primary care doctor who was familiar with lupus as well as familiar with my heart conditions. And dun dun dun, I get pregnant. Can't start any medication like he was telling y'all. No medication. They took me off of my medication for my syncope, passing out disorder. So yeah, I was off all meds this whole pregnancy. Off psych meds, off everything. It was like cold turkey. You don't get to take anything. Partially because I have so many different conditions that they can't really be sure which medicine is going to interact with the other one and make it unsafe. So they felt the safest route was no medications because I've had so many miscarriages. It's obviously safer to be on nothing while pregnant.
So with that, it's like her mental state is not good.
Yeah.
To be honest, to be real honest,
it gets dark in here some days, y'all.
I don't want to be in her head. She don't want to be in my head either. We'll both get lost in each other's head. So her mental state it fluctuates. Some days she's very happy. Some days she's very sad. Some days for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a loss in her family like a couple weeks ago, and it caused her mental state to go down.
Yeah, it was like plummeting like by the hour.
And so for somebody that suffers from depression already, and what if her diagnosis is caused by depression, and it causes depression, and it makes depression makes the thing worse.
Yeah.
So I don't like that could be one of the reasons why she deals with depression, but
yeah, a lot of people that you'll meet with lupus have depression. They call it lupus depression. There's no way to know if what I'm experiencing is lupus depression or if it's just my depressive disorder being worsened by having a chronic pain condition. Because unfortunately I was diagnosed with them so far apart that they don't know if they're connected or if it's just the pain makes my depression worse.
But they can't really tell how long she had lupus either because she wasn't diagnosed with lupus and they probably wasn't looking for lupus back then.
They weren't. So yeah, that's our journey and that's his view of how he took it, which I actually got diagnosed with lupus before he got diagnosed with his autism and mental health disorders. Well, he got diagnosed with his autism and mental health disorders around the same time that I got diagnosed with the inappropriate sinus tachycardia. So we both had new diagnoses at the same time, but our major ones were of quite a few months apart from each other. But all within the first year of marriage, which is intense. But I think we did so far okay with it.
Yes.
We ain't killed each other. We ain't burned down our house. You know?
That's always a good thing.
Definitely. So if you have any questions for me about my disorders or my lupus, how I'm managing, what my symptoms are, you can put all those questions down in the comments and I'll answer them. If you have any questions for him about how he's managing it, put them down in the comments and he'll answer them.
Yes. If it is a good question, then it'll become a topic in our next video or any other video. Because I know it'll probably be some good questions. I hope so.
I do too. All right. That's all for tonight. Later, guys.
Later.